And Haley Wooden from Business in Vancouver joins us now with today's business headlines. Good morning, Haley.
Morning.
Well, Trump's tax bill is headed back to the House today, and it is expected to eventually pass. And surprisingly, this could also affect the Canadian economy.
Absolutely. There's a lot of concern in Canada, actually, that this will hurt Canada's competitiveness, as well as its ability to attract and retain business investment. When we look at this U.S. tax bill, it's going to dramatically lower the U.S. corporate tax rate from one of the highest in the world at 35% down to 21%. That's a 14-point drop. It's also going to repeal the minimum amount of corporate tax a company has to pay, and it'll also allow businesses to write off capital investments in machinery and plants. Now, it's not uncommon to see businesses choose to set up in Canada for tax reasons in order to access the U.S. market, but this is a very appealing and attractive tax regime for companies who may choose to base themselves south of the border, especially when you look at some of the uncertainty around NAFTA as well. If it dissolves, and there is a real possibility we see it dissolve in the new year, being based in Canada, it all of a sudden becomes a little bit more difficult to access the U.S. market anyway. So some concern that Canada might not be able to attract business investment as well as it has been able to over the past number of years.
Interesting. Now, the latest stats on foreign ownership of BC's real estate are out, and the picture seems to be different whether you look at detached homes or condos.
Absolutely. Across the board, just under 5% of residences in Metro Vancouver owned by non-residents. That's primarily concentrated, though, in the condo market. It's 3.2% for detached homes, 7.9% of residences in the region owned by non-residents. Half of those, when we break it down, are based in Vancouver, 15% in Richmond, which really should come as no surprise. Interestingly, though, the value of condos owned by non-residents about 30% on average higher than the value of condos owned by local residents. So in Vancouver, the city of Vancouver, for example, an average condo owned by a foreign buyer about $930,000, and that clocks in at 26% above the average value of a condo owned by a local resident. Now, really quickly, two elements of this new data that haven't been calculated. It doesn't track the money used to purchase condos or housing. It looks more at who's owning it. So you could have a foreign owner purchase a piece of housing for a local owner. And it also doesn't look at pre-sales in condominiums, and that has certainly been an area of focus when it comes to speculation. But all told, good to have some data, and it certainly does vary by housing type quite significantly.
It does, yeah. Interesting. Thank you, Haley. If you'd like more information, you can head to BIV.com.